Hello, everyone. We'll just wait for some other folks to show up. And then I just shared the link to the meeting agenda for those that don't have it.
Hello, hello.
Hey, Marcella.
Hey. Hi, Gemma.
Hi, Marcella. How you doing?
Doing okay today. How are you?
Good.
Yeah, and we also have someone new here. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm friends. Yeah, I am VM6 in the Slack channels. Uh, this is my first time here, so hoping to learn a lot from you. Thanks very much for the invite too.
Welcome.
Yeah,
Glad to have you.
yeah. So I will share. Oh, perfect.
The
Thank
link
you.
to the agenda.
Yeah. Okay, so going to mark that in here, and then let's get started. I think, do you want to give a quick just recap of how last week's office hours went?
Yeah, I think it was a pretty good turnout. Conversation-wise, I think it was a fun conversation between the four of us. We had a few participants join. But most of the questions were the ones that were really being asked, and then at the end there was a few that would pop up more towards um, what to write and like how to get started. Um, but overall, I think it was a good one for us to probably do like a repeat, maybe every so often, whenever um, like OpenSSF Day is coming up, or the Linux Foundation posts this call for paper action. I think would be a good opportunity, or once every quarter, essentially, for all the different talks. Maybe we could have like some kind of list of like Python Foundation, Kubernetes, and all this that we could probably collect. So when we do have the talks, be like, hey, these are the ones coming up that we highly recommend and that are looking for new folks. And then just continue the conversation we had. And I know you're taking notes, so.
Yeah. I try to jot everything down that you said. So, yeah, I'm glad it went well. I know that the DevRel, I don't know if they talked about the DevRel group at all while they were there.
Yeah. And
Um,
they brought up the office hours for it as well.
yeah, so I wonder if we could just have a tighter coordination with them. There's also a discussion that I was having with Catherine around would it make sense to almost have DevRel be like a sub-project or something under DEI working group. Mostly because yeah, the whole point is to establish these relationships with developers and newcomers as well. So yeah,
Yeah, I like it.
but yeah, that's probably a longer conversation to have with them, and I like we won't resolve it today, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, so that's a potential option to keep open. Because I can definitely see us like overlapping there in the future. It could also be sort of nice to have like them organize it sometimes and then we organize it sometimes, and it just
True.
we'll just like merge the communities. And then I'm going back through the notes.
This is the schedule link. I'm gonna add it to the notes.
Thank you. Yeah. Is it too late to start or too early to start planning the next one?
I don't think so.
Mhm.
For the next one, like social media is usually about the week before and the week of to kind of give it
Yeah.
hype. I think we need to focus more on like what we're gonna be saying and who the speakers are.
Mhm.
So this is finding mentors in community and open source and cybersecurity. So that would be the next topic. I'll be interested if Prince and I apologize, Yoma. If you were to see a presentation online about finding mentors and communities in open source and cybersecurity, what would be your expectation? What would you like to see? I think as newcomers, it's interesting. It's important to get your feedback on that so we can do this, like build this correctly.
Ujema, would you want to go first?
And it's okay if you don't, you can type it on chat. If you don't know right now, then it's you can just say, I don't know.
Is it something we can add to the Slack channel, like as in post in the Slack channel, what our expectations are? But for me, if I had a dedicated mentor, I or someone who I can regularly check in with on my progress, I think it would really help a lot. And if there was kind of like a program uh, that trained or mentored me on what to go, what to do. I mean, at each point in my open source journey, I think that would really help.
Okay, so
Okay,
what I
sorry.
hear, oh, go ahead.
I wanted to get the question because when you said it, my network was cracking a little bit.
Okay, I can repeat the question. So the next office hours is going to be around finding mentors in the community in open source and cybersecurity. As somebody who's new in the industry, and this is like your first time maybe joining some kind of event, what information would be useful to you if you were in the pursuit of a mentor?
Oh, okay. First of all, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, I understand that when it comes to mentorship, a lot of times we we as mentees, we expect our mentors to be there every step of the way, holding us by the hand and stuff like that. But most times it doesn't work that way because people are very busy with their job and whatever it is they're doing. So my expectations would be having something like a program where, let's say, a collective mentorship. So it's not just going to be one person allocating someone to you. Okay, there's this program I'm currently doing by GitHub for digital public goods. So they are mentoring us as community managers to be able to contribute to this project. So if I'm to get into a program like that for cybersecurity, how to contribute to open source security projects, I would want something like that. Get people that are interested, have them come together probably on a Slack channel, and then have this probably bi-weekly or once in a month session where we invite people to have a hands-on project. Because the last one I did, they had to walk us through how to use GitHub Actions, how to merge pull requests, so stuff like that. Because a lot of times people want to contribute to open source, but they don't even know that, okay, you need to know how to use GitHub, or you need to know how to navigate yourself around this project, right? So then when you get on this project, you need to guide them, tell them, okay, these are some of the things you need to do, have people come on board to talk how they started their own open source contributions and some of the open source contributions that some of these projects need, and then also letting them understand that in as much as the cybersecurity, a lot of times people would always want to believe that you need to be very technical. I'm still learning about cybersecurity. I'm still learning still taking security courses, stuff like that. But then I'm a social media person and I'm a community manager. And regardless, these projects, they are communities actually, which means that my skills apply. So we also need people to understand that you don't need to be so technical to contribute to all these projects. Even if you're not technical, you can also contribute. So those kind of the expectations I would want to see if I want to contribute to different open source projects. So I'm going to recap, bring people together, look for people that have been contributing to this project, have them talk to them, how they started, some contributions that some of these projects need, how they can go around it, how they can be useful to these different projects as well. So yeah, this is some of the things I would love to see.
This is useful. Thank you. I know Marcella is still typing up some of the notes, so.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, did I finish typing? Oh. Okay, yeah, now I finished typing. So yeah, I think what I'm really hearing is something that we're going to have to discuss is just expectations and setting the right expectations for the programs, because I've had similar experiences with mentorship programs, not in the open source space, but just sort of career mentorship. And it turns out that sort of career mentoring and like technical training and mentoring can end up being very different. And again, everyone's expectations there end up being very different too. And so I think, yeah, being very, like, I like the direction of talking about expectations and helping the audience sort of think about the fact that that's really the first step you should do, is sort of ask yourself, like, what do you want to get out of this program, and what types of interactions do you want? What are your expectations for your other mentee or mentorship cohort people? Yeah, I think that's really what I'm getting from both Ijoma and Prince.
Uh,
Is that like a reasonable recap?
Yeah, it's fine. I would also like to add another thing. Okay,
Yeah.
so for this program I'm currently taking for digital public goods, so it's very structured in the sense that if you're in the program, you know all the projects that are digital under the digital public goods. So it will also be wonderful to have something like that for open source security, different open source security projects that people can contribute to. So just like a list and what this project is all about. So when people, like a directory, let me put it that way. So you can click on the link, scroll through, you find different projects, you look at what they do, check out their GitHub and probably their README as well to see what they do, how you can contribute, if it's something that, because at the end of the day, you still have to be very interested in that project in order to be able to do well as a contributor. So you go through them, read through them, and discover if it's something you want to do. Are you interested in this project? And from there, you can join their Slack, trying to understand how they work, their meetings, their working groups and stuff like that. So that would also make sense as well.
Yeah, thank you. That's something that keeps coming up, is needing the sort of directory and easy way to find projects to contribute. And even within a project, how do you know what like tasks or pieces need new contributions, right? I think that can be pretty hard to discover.
Especially if they
Yeah,
don't do it, because I know some use like labels and tags on their
yeah,
issues, but not everybody
Yeah.
does it.
Yeah, not everybody. Yes. So
yeah,
sometimes what I do is I go through their websites. I read, there are some projects that are very, very explanatory, like Drupal, Mautic. When you go to their websites, you find different ways you can contribute, even as an event planner or as a community
yeah,
person. So they've already categorized it to make it easy for people to find where they belong. But I believe because probably they're already so established, it's not the same to small projects that have not had time to actually come together to say these are some of the contributions that we really need. And then it's not just a contribution that is going to last for maybe for a while. It's going to be something that is very continuous. Let's say a project will probably always need someone to let's say they have a social media presence, for example. They'll always need someone to be there putting the project out there, whatever they are doing. So this is something that is always in need, right? So you have
yeah,
to come together to how do I explain it now? Come together to break it down in pieces or in small chunks so that when people come to your project, they'll know that, okay, I can contribute to this project as a let's say technical writer. So which means that you continuously trying to make their documentation better, or it could be writing articles, blog posts about the project, stuff like that. So it's something that keeps happening, and all projects need these contributions, right? So yeah, that's what I feel.
I really like that, 'cause that's a high issue in the space, is like some of those low hanging issues they need help with, but no one's really like, hey, come here, you know, especially on social.
Yeah, so on my part, one thing I am expecting is that is guidance. Can my mentor help me set goals? For instance, how can he or she assist me in defining and reaching specific goals within like the open source landscape. And then also are there networking opportunities the program will provide, or my mentor can my mentor help me to network and connect with others in the open source community? Are they willing to share their experience, how they started on the open source community and where they are now, and how can they help me also reach there? And can they share these experiences and the challenges they faced in the open source landscape? I really want to grow as an open source developer. I really want to go long term. So will they be there? I mean, even after the program, even if it's a program, even after the mentorship program, to assist me throughout my journey. So, long-term involvement, skills development, sharing their experiences, helping me set goals and reaching them, networking opportunities. Yeah, these are things that I'm looking out for. So basically guidance and helping me grow as an open source developer in the long term. Yeah. So that's like a summary of what I would say I'm looking out for.
So I did, I know you have your hand raised, but I did want to touch on something that we can probably also go into. And Prince, you mentioned it. There's a difference between a mentor and a coach. And from my understanding, everybody has their own definition of it. A mentor is there to guide you through the steps. A coach is there to work with you through your goals. So those are two different areas that we want to think about maybe highlighting. And I know the Linux Foundation has a mentorship program, and it depends on who you get, but there are folks that even part of the mentorship program will give you your goals for the project. So I just wanted to quickly just highlight that there is a difference between a coach and a mentor. And then Ogoma, go ahead.
Well, okay, I feel like you've already mentioned what I wanted to say. I wanted to clarify that mentorship is different, like you said, from coaching, because what Prince mentioned was more like you needed a coach, which is not really easy to find. So I wanted to suggest that I've been contributing to open source for the past 2 years. And then one thing I've noticed is that people are always ready to help as long as you keep showing up. So if you want to grow as a software developer contributing to open source, so I would suggest you look for projects that interest you, could be 1 or 2, and you stick to it. Join the community, you stay active, you reach out to the maintainers, or you reach out to whoever is in charge of that particular project. As long as you're always there, making contributions, asking questions, you definitely see people that will always be there to answer your questions, to help you when you're having difficulties. But if you're looking for someone to walk you through your goals and stuff like that, I think that's far-fetched.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, something I wanted to add is that in the open source space, and I'm sorry if you can hear my dog barking. In the open source space, there can be a lot, like it can sometimes be difficult to feel like there's a sense of stability if a project is having a lot of change in who's joining or who's participating. But that's actually pretty normal. and that's not to say that you don't have people that are long-term with projects, right? I think maybe something to talk about is just how do you find stability within that sort of like environment where there is churn and there is change and things are evolving at a pretty frequent pace, because that can seem pretty overwhelming too. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's what I wanted to say.
No, that's a good point, because like you might get into a project that when you look at it originally, it seems all wittily niddly, but then there's a certain time of the year where either it's like super crazy and it's hard to like get a hold of people, and
Mhm.
then there's times of the year where it's like a ghost town, like December in the US.
Yeah.
So I think being aware of that and maybe the communication within the community would be something, especially for new folks, like giving them a heads up, like not to like micromanage or do, you know, what's done in corporate, but if you're going to be on PTO, let somebody know that no one's going to be there, you know. So I think that would help with um the stability part, but open source is very unstable. So if you're looking for stability, um, we can help build it. That would be my response to that.
Yeah, to your point about the communication too, like even just saying I can no longer commit to this project because I got busy with whatever, I think is very reasonable, but sometimes people just disappear and don't come back, and that can cause a lot of trouble actually. So yeah.
Yeah, I
I
realized
wanted,
that. Go ahead.
okay, I wanted to talking about people disappearing on open source projects. So I wanted to know, because last time I checked, we're about 40 or 39 on the group. So I wanted to know how many people are really active and if there are things we can do to help them or make them start attending meetings at least, because contributing to project is 50% attending meetings, because it's from these meetings you get to know what is on board, what the project is currently planning to do. And that's also a way for you to find out, okay, can I actually probably, let's say there is this program we want to do, or there is this particular task or activity that is coming up. So it's from these meetings that you know that, okay, something like this is actually happening. Probably I should try to contribute. And this is how people do contributions on different open source projects. So I wanted to see if there is a way we can even reach out to them to understand why they've not been attending meetings, and if there is a way we can help as a community. So just wanted to ask, because I wanted to take up that task, but I feel like it's something that I need to discuss with everyone to see if it's something that is even doable.
So as far as attendance goes, one thing to note is that all this is volunteer hours. So just the fact that we do have folks assisting with it is one thing. But we can't really like quote unquote force people to get on the calls with us. We could maybe entice them in some kind of way to get on the calls. But I think that's like a whole nother problem that we're kind of shifting into. It's a good one to kind of discuss, but it's a common problem in open source. I do want to make sure that we stay on topic with the office hours and what we need to do, just because we're already halfway through the time. But we're honestly looking for ideas. I know the marketing team for OpenSSF is looking for ideas and ways to like improve attendance. I think it goes my personal perspective, I think it goes back to their marketing on social platforms. Like they have these events, but when you talk to people, most of the folks don't even know that it's going on. They don't know that there's a calendar. There's nothing saying, hey guys, you know, tomorrow is going to be our topic on, I don't know, critical projects. We're looking for folks to cover X, Y, Z. Join the calendar. And if you can't make this time, join us next, you know, next round. It's always on this day at this time. But like, unfortunately, because of time zones, people all over the world, people work, people have lives, it's really difficult to pull them in into the meetings, but it is an issue. I think if we like do more social media awareness, like the community office hours that we did, not this last one, the previous one, I think we got a good attendance for as little marketing we did on social.
Yeah, the low
I got
attendance.
connected for a bit.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying I got disconnected. So
Okay, welcome back.
Okay. Yeah, hopefully that becomes a bit more stable, the connection. Yeah, I was gonna say something about attendance also. It really has been a problem across all of OpenSSF for the last several months. Some of it, I think, is the fact that many people are on summer vacation. But even before that, right, like 4 months that this particular working group has had issues. So we should definitely spend some time at the end, I think, to come back to this and like close out the office hours topic. Okay, so for office hours then, I think we have a couple of questions. We can start, put this, I had like a question stock recently.
Yeah, let's see if I can find it.
Um,
This is not the keyword I'm looking for.
so here we have questions.
I found it. Oh, yay. Okay.
So the idea was mostly just for our own records. We could collect the questions.
No, this is great because when we do these again, we already have the questions.
Yeah, exactly. So we can add one here for mentorship based on everything we've been talking about today. And then I guess the final question would be who to invite as speakers.
We could probably do find somebody with on the LF mentorship program
Yeah,
that might be able to come speak. And then maybe look at some projects that are looking for contributors.
I think that'd be very good. Yeah. And then I was also thinking, I don't know if it's too much to ask Ijoma, but you had a lot of really good ideas. And I think having like the mentee perspective would also be really good. So if you're available to speak on the next office hours, it'd be really good to have you there.
Yeah, sure. That's fine. That's fine.
Thank you. I don't want to sign you up for anything without obviously consulting with you first. So
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, I'll be the one handling the design of it. I took over that from.
okay. Yeah. Well, thank you. So I guess we have a few panelists.
And we can probably message on general and just see who's looking for, let them know that we're doing office hours for mentees, and if anyone's looking for new contributors, we highly recommend you join this.
Yeah, definitely. this down. In general.
Okay, something just came to my mind. We can even probably sometime next year or something, have something like a project showcase. It's just
Ooh,
it's just
yeah.
inviting maintainers or CEOs of different projects to come and talk about their projects. You know, to see if talk about what they do, how the contributions they need, and how people can contribute to them. It's just like showcasing your project, right? To see if interested participants or attendees would want to sign up and then drop links to your GitHub or to your Slack. People that are interested can join and you take it from there.
I really like that. It can be like a tech show. What is it we used to do in school? Show and tell.
Yeah, yeah, something like that.
Each person gets like maybe 15 to 20 minutes and they go through their project and what they're looking help for. And then we can have probably like 2 to 3 projects on that hour call.
Yes, yes, also, yes, that's it.
Yeah. We can even do this like repeatedly, right? Where we just have like 3
So many
projects and then yeah. Especially if they're giving demos. I think that'd be pretty fun
Yeah.
actually.
I think that'd be pretty fun. Like, this is how the tool works. This, or, you know, this is what we're working on. This is what we need help with. This is how you find us. And then even like OpenSSF marketing can take those little like snippets and now post it on social and be like, hey, interested in blah blah blah. Check out these videos. So for the next one, do we want to make it as a panel or do we want to try to do one of these like tech and shows or something?
For the mentorship, hmm. Yeah, we can probably find 3 people that are available in September to talk about their projects.
Yeah.
And maybe we just keep it really short and we just say like, you get 5 minutes to talk about your project. Because I don't know, I still think that I would like to have the conversation about setting the expectations, the differences between coaching and mentoring and sponsoring and um, finding projects. There's also the side of like projects helping mentees find them that I think would be useful. So
I think the coaching, mentorship, sponsorship conversation, I think that
yeah,
one needs to happen sooner than later.
yeah,
Especially as we get closer to when interns are starting to get selected for the summer.
mhm,
You know, that might be this might be a great opportunity for us to give a once over on what the difference is between the 3 of those, so they know the right questions to ask and they know who
yeah,
to get or who to seek those, because those three things don't live in the same house. I mean, one's more personal,
Mhm.
one's more personal, one can waver between personal, professional, the other one is absolutely 100% professional. So eh, sometimes those can be the same person. More often than not, those are 2 or 3 different people. So teaching them also, hey, how do you recognize, or how do you uh, identify the right individuals to ask to be those 3 separate things for you, right? So that, I mean, and that now is a great time to do that. That should be, just because of the time of the year that we're entering.
Yeah, it would be a month from now, but I think maybe we can just do the next one around the differences, the next like we had said the differences between the 3, how to identify them. what to look for them, and then setting the expectations and finding projects for each.
Yes.
And I think even
Yeah.
just that is going to take us the whole hour.
Yeah, I agree. So it sounds like we've gone back to, okay, this is going to be a panel with the people they've already talked about. You can talk about those differences, expectations, the perspective of the mentee and the perspective of mentors. Maybe we can have someone who's a coach in there too. Sponsorship is a bit tricky to find like someone who's like a sponsor, because sometimes that can even be very spontaneous, right? You can sponsor someone very spontaneously.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
also don't want to put somebody, and I'm thinking risk. We put somebody who's done sponsorship, and now everyone just thinks that they're the sponsor person. Now they're getting bombarded and like,
Yeah,
sponsor me.
that's true.
Maybe somebody who has gone through it that can talk about it on either perspective. They've been sponsored or they were a sponsor.
Yeah. Yeah. My mindset personally is that anyone can also be a sponsor for anyone. This doesn't have to be someone who's like it can be your peer. Your peer could be sponsoring you somewhere. But it would still be good to have yeah, one of
Distinction.
yeah. And then for the project showcase, I even wonder if we could do something a little bit bigger, like LF or not LF wide. That would be too big, but like something OpenSSF wide. Could we try to piggyback off of Sauce Community, or what's it called, Sauce Fusion? That's in October. Could we have like a virtual project showcase like before
That might be
that
a
event?
question for ops and marketing.
I could not unmute. Yeah. I agree.
And I think we're already on a channel with them, so we can just piggyback off of it.
Let me confirm when is Sauce Fusion. Because the other thing we might consider with these project showcases is doing them at different times to hit different time zones. Like time zone clusters. So, okay, Sauce Fusion is I think like the 3rd week of October.
Something like that.
So we could try to do something there. What are these days? Oh man, they're gonna have Bruce Schneier. I can't even. Ooh, Jay, you're also gonna be talking. That's awesome.
Talking when?
Oh, Sauce Fusion.
Yeah, I don't know. That is still debatable. I got voluntold for that one. I didn't raise my hand for it. I didn't put nothing. That came out of nowhere. So that's like it's there. I haven't booked the flight yet. I'm still not terribly sure mentally that I'm even in the right mind to go all the way to Atlanta just to do a 30-minute talk like that. Like that's not. I don't even know that's it literally to go to Atlanta for a 30-minute talk. Like that I don't know. That's debatable. We'll see. We'll see if I make that.
I'm assuming Atlanta's on your list.
It's not. Look, man. I'm tired of being on the road, and
Yeah.
unless it's mission critical. Like if I had a few talks, and these talks were impactful talks, then I'm all about that life. But this is part of a media tour, I guess, And I've done my, like, you, once you've done it a couple of times, it's like, okay, well, I've served my time. Let somebody else have some of that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, somebody else has some of that. 30 minutes, 30 minutes outside of Atlanta is not, just 30 minutes. So what I gotta do, book a hotel? I don't even understand. I don't even know how to gauge that. Like, fly in, do the talk, fly out. I can't, the budget wise, spending the money doesn't even make sense.
Yeah. You're
Yeah, I feel
flying
you.
from California, right? So,
Right.
which, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going on a
Um,
flying hiatus very soon. I'm so tired.
Yeah.
yeah. Maybe that's something we should talk about is just like managing your travel time and like your work time because it really is a struggle. Like there are so many events that come up and people are like, oh, join, so better talk here, do that. Um, and
Yeah,
yeah,
I have 3 in October, and I'm like, there's one that I'm just like,
oh,
I haven't done before, and it's in Ohio, and I'm just like, I don't know. I'm tired.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, so for the mentorship, for the next office hours, we have a talk. We need to find panelists. Um, we just need somebody maybe from the LF mentorship program, and
yeah,
then I forgot who else we had mentioned. There was 1 or 2.
yeah, we had Ijoma from the mentee perspective, and then yeah, there was a third one that I forgot to.
Somebody who's a coach, if we can find someone who's an actual
Okay.
coach.
Just gonna have the action items over here. All right.
There was also marketing, the show and tech. We'll be
Oh
talking with
yeah,
marketing and operations to see when best. I don't know if they're going to want to do it during or before Fusion, just because like they're going to be like crazy busy with everything already. So
yeah.
maybe after.
It could be after as well. I don't really have a preference. I just figured we could, um,
Piggyback.
yeah, piggyback off of their big, the sort of bigger established event already.
Yeah, we
If
probably could
not
for
that,
future
yeah,
ones, but
yeah. If not that, then I know KubeCon is like a month later or like 2 weeks later. Um,
yeah, and it'd be cool to do uh these show and tells from different conferences. So like KubeCon and then PyTorch and
mhm,
whatever the React one is, things like that.
yeah. Maybe I'll just say like which conference to. mm, Yeah. Okay. Um, should we go back to the question about raising attendance in the meetings?
I feel like we need more people with that. Maybe that's like a separate conversation with marketing. It's, that's that's one solution. It's just like being able to have those posts, or it goes back to those communities of them doing some kind of social. One thing we could
Yeah.
probably do is like a dynamic feed that shows like contributions that people are looking for. Kind of like an it's gonna be a little bit more old school what I'm about to say, but like an RSS feed that comes in. It's like, hey, this project's looking for this, something that we can redirect folks to at least. It's like, we don't have any, but look at this and see if anybody posts something.
Yeah, that got me thinking, like you can hook up Slack to GitHub these days, and whenever you open a new issue, it just like sends a little Slack message. Could we do something like that where we have like a Slack channel that's like subscribing to different projects, so whenever someone opens an issue there, it like pops up and
I just don't know how
people could,
noisy or annoying that would be,
yeah,
but we could probably do multiple channels. One is like general contributions per language type of contributions. And then maybe
yeah.
if they tag it for first timers or need help,
Mhm.
those were the tags that we had. Then there's a channel, it's like need help channel. And look at this for anybody that's looking for volunteers.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen a few, even just in the salsa repo, a few issues about translating the spec into other languages. And I really think that that's something that we should, I mean, now that the spec is more mature, it makes more sense to do that. But in general, like translating documentation or websites is
Yeah.
a huge, huge help to reach other audiences. So the question for me too would be, for this particular group, what are we hoping to achieve with more attendees in the working group? Is it like tackling more of the issues sort of in parallel? Is it establishing like subgroups? How would we,
Like what
yeah,
the go of it is.
yeah. I'm not saying that
Um,
this few people is perfect. I'm just saying like
I would say increase awareness around the projects, increase contribution and attendance.
okay.
A centralized area for folks to find issues, because that's one that I'm sure all of us have heard for years. It's like, I don't know where to start. I don't know who needs help.
Yeah.
And
So
then as
could
we
we,
get more
yeah,
people, go ahead.
sorry, go ahead. No, sorry.
I was gonna say, as more people come in and we do the office hours, we can just like direct them to that channel too. Like, hey, you're new to the space, go check out this channel. Gonna find like all the projects that you might be interested in.
Yeah.
I agree with awareness about getting more people on board too, because the goal of this mentorship program is, I think, should obviously be to get more people into open source, contributing into open source. So I think it will be a good idea to, yeah, like publicize it, I should say.
Go ahead.
Okay, can I go ahead? Are you still speaking, Florence?
No, I think Prince is finished. You
I'm
muted
done
him.
now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm all in for creating awareness. And then I also wanted to suggest something like when we are done creating this directory where people can actually look at different open source projects they can contribute to. We can also have an option of a tour guide for people that want to get on a call to speak to someone. Because I've worked with people that they find it difficult to understand. A lot of times you could give them resources, they still come back with numerous questions, and it could be very annoying sometimes. You feel like, can't you read? It's frustrating. But then I've worked with people based on I handle programs a lot. So what I always do is have an option of, do you need someone that you want to talk to, that you want to show you around, or probably you want to ask them questions that you may necessarily not want to ask on the main group. It's fine. So all you have to do is, let's say, have a contact on the project, be like, okay, if you need a tour guide, reach out to this particular, like a point of contact, right? So reach out to this particular person so they could arrange, it could be 2 or 3 people doing the tour guide. So what we need to do is, when someone says they need a tour guide, so we'll check for available person. Say, are you available to guide this person? And then anybody that is available can schedule a call and do that. It's something that we do on Chaos Project, and it's really nice to have.
You said the project you're on already does that?
Chaos
Chaos does that?
is community metrics, community health. It's under Linux Foundation.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see what tools they're using, because then if we can just replicate their process and show others like what their process is and how it works, maybe they can adopt it. But that's a
Yeah.
whole nother.
For me, I think it's very confusing when you when you are new to all of this. I mean, open source in general, and so all the suggestions you are giving, I think they would really help if we are able to move forward with them. Especially with what Ijamama just mentioned, so having someone to direct you on where to go to, and I mean, a directory of projects and all that. I have seen on the Linux Foundation mentorship site. I think there are some projects, and that, like, there's a whole program, a whole, I don't know how to describe it. You have a directory and all that. For instance, I learned about the Meshery project by Layer 5, the Inspector Gadget by Cloud Native and all that. And I think having something like that is cool, but also moving forward with the suggestions we've discussed here would really help. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We took a note of all of that because I totally agree. I like the concept of having a tour guide role. And like you said, Ijoma, it only needs to be 2, 3 people, maybe even we rotate them in and out. Or they could even have sort of one-off meetings with newcomers or sort of regularly scheduled tours. Where you sort of, the next one is maybe it's weekly, maybe it's bi-weekly, depending on the need.
Yes. Yes.
I like the
yes.
It could
regularly
be
scheduled ones, because then I think
Yes.
it'd be easier to
Yes.
get people. And then you just get a
exactly.
group. We get a group and
Yeah.
we figure out what the problems are.
Makes
So
Yeah.
sense.
for the Meshery project, they have this newcomers meeting which happens, is it every Tuesday or Wednesday? I think we could replicate that, like we could do something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense, because the last one I did was I think once a month I contribute to DEI badging, D&I badging, where we scrutinize different open source events to make sure that they're actually inclusive, like they claim to be. So what we do is we have this monthly call where we guide people, because I've noticed people struggle to use GitHub, and we use GitHub for these projects and contributions. So we do this monthly call. We bring together everybody that indicated interest that they want to do this, or they want to do this particular task. We bring them together. We have someone guide them every step of the way. And then after the call, you're free to always ask questions when you have difficulties or challenges. You know who to reach out to. So when people join projects or when people join communities, they already know that, okay, I'm having this issue with GitHub. Let me go and meet Marcella. She'll be the best person. So, but when projects are not this explained, let me put it that way, you don't know
Yeah.
who to reach out to. You don't even know who is active in the project. So just join, and after a while, you just go off, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're over time and I want to be respectful of everyone's time. But this was a really, really great discussion. And we should continue this. One idea that I had was we could just start for ourselves and actually because we actually have a GitHub account for or a GitHub repo for this working group. So could we start posting some of our tasks where we need help on GitHub itself and use that as the way to communicate where we ourselves sort of want contributions. That's something that I at least want to think about how we could leverage those tools that we already have to get more folks involved in this group and then through that way, right? Establish communication channels with other groups on projects. Does that make sense? Cool. Thank you, Ijoma and Prince, for joining today. Great to see you, Jay. And yeah, I will
Thank you
close
very
things
much.
out. Thank you. Hopefully you'll join in a few weeks again.
Yes, yes, sure, hopefully.
All
Thank you,
right.
Marcella.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thanks,
You
Marcella.
too. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. All right, bye then.